Thanks for choosing to attending this presentation by KSR Consultants and me. My name is Ajirath Kapoor. Okay, so why have we gathered here today? We have gathered here today for a very special topic called the data heist. Okay, now why did we choose this name called data heist? Because obviously, as you guys have observed that in year 2020 and 2021, well, there have been a lot of cybersecurity issues, ransomware, data breach, okay, uh, reversals, backdoors, everything happening because of the whole world shifting to a online mode of working, also known as work from home. So that is why we came up with this presentation, and also we are coming up with a new course called Data Heist itself, where we will be teaching all the stuff related to cybersecurity from the very scratch. Okay, so we'll take you from a basic beginner level to an intermediate level where you can take different certifications, you can easily pass them, and you can appear for interviews without any worries. Okay, so before we start talking about anything, before I show you, how cybersecurity labs would look like, I would rather tell you first what cybersecurity is. Okay, so could you please write down in the chat box what is cybersecurity? According to you, what is cybersecurity? Please start writing down in the chat box, and I'll look for your answers and try to create a definition of cybersecurity. All right, so no problem. I'll create a definition of my own. Okay. So if we talk about cybersecurity at a very layman level, it talks about, I'll use a different pen. Protection of data, computers, and networks, right? That's a very basic definition of what cybersecurity is. You try to secure your networks where you are inside right now. You try to secure the devices through which you are accessing internet or private networks. And eventually what you're dealing with is data. So protection of data, computers, and networks can be known as cybersecurity at a very simple level. Okay. Now, there are a variety of ways through which you can protect these three. Okay. So you can protect them obviously by ensuring that the security mechanisms are strong. Okay. So I write security mechanisms. Or the other way is to test these security mechanisms by attacking them. Okay. So it's a very simple definition, right? You protect data, computers, and networks by first implementing security mechanisms like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems, access control lists, right? And how do you test those security mechanisms? By attacking them. Okay, you would attack networks, you would try to attack individual devices, and that is how you will be able to find out how secure your mechanism is. But that's an old definition. Why? Because these days you have other types of devices as well. Now, as you look at the latest certifications, they also include IoT devices. Why? Because there are around 22 billion IoT devices in the world. Okay, which we think are generic in nature. So let's talk about some IoT devices. Amazon Echo, your smart doorbell, your smart cameras, all of them are IoT devices which also need protection. Why do they need protection? Because for the ease of access, they are constrained in size. And when a device is very constrained in size, there will be no security standard or protocol applied on it. No to minimal. That is why we need to secure IoT devices as well. Okay. Now, there is one more type of technology that needs to be protected, and that is known as operational technology. Okay. So all the industrial technologies like SCADA systems, okay, the centrifuges that help you, create useful products, useful outputs, they are also susceptible or vulnerable to cyber attacks. So now you don't limit yourself to computers, networks, data. You add what? You add IoT devices as well and operational technologies as well. Okay. And very soon, when AI will be a full-blown thing, AI is there, but AI is still considered to be the future, right? But when AI will be there completely among us, okay, then we would have to secure AI as well at one point of time. Okay, so if we go back to the definition, what is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is a domain which deals with the security of anything that is connected to the network, either public, which means the internet, or private. Okay. And whenever we think about cybersecurity, what comes in our mind? Hacking comes in our mind, right? And I want to clear that perception, because hacking is just a slang for a term known as penetration testing. Okay, and it comes under this domain, the one that I have highlighted. Okay, so basically there are different types of domains in cybersecurity: malware analysis, intrusion prevention, digital forensics, cryptography, security architecture designing and auditing. So it's basically called SIEM, something that we are going to deal with in the near future in our classes, and reverse engineering. So these are the main domains that if a person understands or if a person goes through, they will be able to easily secure an entry level to an intermediate level job in cybersecurity. Okay, so now before going further, before talking about what is there in cybersecurity, I would rather take this time to show you how our labs will be when we start our course. Okay, so I would go here on this operating system that I'm using. Now you can use any type of operating system. Okay, and basically what is Cali? Cali is a Linux based cyber security distribution. So you use Linux for almost all purposes these days. Okay, you're working with Kubernetes, you will use Linux. You are creating servers, you use Linux. Okay, you want to deploy web services, you use Linux. Obviously, Linux being open source solves a variety of purposes, right? And cybersecurity is one of them. Okay, so what do you mean by a distribution? Distribution just means that you take a Linux machine and you customize it according to your needs. Okay, so Kali is just a Linux based distribution that helps you learn pen testing or penetration testing, the offensive side of cybersecurity. Now, obviously, this is the most popular OS for pen testing or hacking, but there are others as well, like Parrot OS. Okay, so I'll take you guys to Parrot OS so that you can find out how it looks like. So I'll write parrotsec.org. It's a similar operating system. And for those of you who do not have a lot of resources on your computer to run Kali, okay, usually they say that Kali can easily run on a computer with 1 gigs of RAM if you provide it 1 gigs of RAM. But due to its heavyweight nature, all the apps might not work perfectly. So in that case, what is the alternative? The alternative is Parrot OS. Okay. So for those of you who are looking to enroll for this course, or even not enroll for this course, I would still suggest you to download the security edition and play around with this operating system by yourself. Okay, so if you are working with VMware, then you would download this desktop version. Otherwise, if you are working with VirtualBox, then you would download the virtual appliance. Okay, so I'll share this link with all of you. And you can go through this link. Just give me a second. I believe I sent it to just one person. I'll go to everyone and I'll share it again. Okay, so I believe you would have got this link in your chat box. After the class or after the session, try it out yourself, and if there is any problem, you can contact the KSR team and they can connect me to you. Okay, so this right here is your Kali Linux operating system. Okay, and there are a variety of tools present on it. Okay, so if you go here, there are different types of tools. Okay, you want to hack into a machine, you've got tools for that. If you want to learn assembly language, you want to learn malware analysis, if a malware hits your system and you want to open it up, then you have tools for that, like this one. Okay, in the reverse engineering section. And what's the good thing about all these tools? Most of them are free. Okay, some of them are paid, but we don't really need them right now. Okay, so we can easily learn cybersecurity based concepts with these tools. Okay, just to give you a demo, suppose if you are trying to analyze an executable that you got from somebody, okay, or you are trying to find a crack of a software, but you don't know if that crack is good or okay, or if it is infected with malware. Okay, then you can use a tool like this called Gidra. I'll open this up for you. Takes some time to open up, don't worry about it. So this is a tool called Gidra, and using this tool we will try to open up an executable. Okay, so all those files that you have been working with, exe, dmg, .bin, the executable files, they can be opened up and you can look inside the source code. Okay, so if I try to import a file here, this is a file in front of me, and what do you see here? You see its hex level code or assembly language code. So for those of you who are doing good in programming, this section is going to be very fun. Why? Because here you actually use your knowledge of programming languages to see what is inside a malware. Okay, so this is the hexadecimal based code or the assembly language code. Now, in the initial stages, you won't be able to understand what it is doing. So for that, what you can do is you can go to a section called functions. And by going to that section, what you can do is you can easily find out its decompiled source code, which is most of the time in C. Okay, as you can see here, I opened up an exe file, and what did I get in this case? I got the hex level code as well as the C level code. So this C level code helps me understand what is this binary trying to do. So if you know about the statements, the looping statements like do, while, for, then it will be fun for you to understand how this is working. Okay, so this is a part of our course, and this is something that we take up towards the end of our course. Okay, but this obviously requires some programming language knowledge. Okay, let's deal with the fun part. Okay, and what we do in our labs initially is that we try to hack into machines. Okay, so what I am doing right now is I have downloaded a machine from the internet. I can show you, it's here. Okay, this is Kali Linux, and next to Kali Linux is one more machine. Okay, is one more machine called Mr. Robot. Okay, so if you guys have seen the series Mr. Robot, this is a lab based on that particular series. Okay, it's on my machine, it's in the same network as Kali Linux, and I want to hack into it. Okay, now obviously, unless and until we understand the concepts of hacking, we understand the 5 phases related to hacking, we can't do this right away. But I can show you some really cool tricks that you can apply after the session. Okay, so right now in my network, the victim machine is running. Okay, and I want to hack it using my attacking machine, which is Kali Linux. I don't have anything, I don't have any details at all related to that machine. So the first thing that I'm interested in is finding out where this machine is. Okay, and I can do that using a very simple command called net discover. So what does net discover do? Inside my own network, it will help me find out all the live hosts. Okay, inside a network there are computers that are talking to each other, right? So what this command is going to help me find out, this command is going to help me find out the live machines, okay, that are up, that might talk to each other. So I'll run a very simple command called net discover. Okay, and it will ask for a few permissions because it is now going to scan for the other IPs on this network. Okay, that is why it is asking for permissions from my host operating system, which is Mac OS. Okay, I'll write this down. And now what will it do? As you can see here, it is trying to scan different networks for the live hosts. So within a few seconds, what will show up? The live hosts or the active hosts will show up. Okay, because whenever we say that we want to hack into a machine, hacking into a machine is not that easy. Okay, first of all, we need to get its IP address. Okay, after getting its IP address, some people think that it's enough, but no, it's not enough. You need more information. Okay, so after finding out the IP address of a machine, you would have to find out which services this IP address is running. Services like maybe a website. Okay, so website can be based on HTTP or HTTPS. Maybe a download service. So it will be based on a protocol called FTP. Suppose if you want to hack their email server, so at that time, the service that you're trying to hack into is SMTP or IMAP. Okay, and all these services are defined through something that is known as a port. Okay, so this is something that we will deal with in the first class, and I will make you understand a very common model for networking, which is the OSI model. Okay, it's a 7-layer model that we will deal with, and we'll try to understand how it works, and we will map this OSI model to cybersecurity frameworks. Okay, because basically OSI model is a model for networking, but this is not a networking class. Okay, it's a cybersecurity batch. So that is why what I'll do is I'll teach all the relevant networking stuff to you guys, which you can understand and apply to different cybersecurity frameworks. So while we were talking about this, let's see what showed up on our scan. Okay. So what is this scan trying to do? This scan is trying to find out all the live hosts on my network. Okay. So what showed up here is an IP, which is 192.168.211.221. Okay. Let's find out whose IP is this, because I'm not sure. So I'll go to new tab. I'll try to find out and I'll try to check if it's my IP or somebody else's IP. So this is my IP. Okay. Whereas the IP that I found is somebody else's IP. Okay. Let this scan run. And after we complete the scan, we will be able to get a better picture of all the live hosts in our network. But till then, this random IP that we got, let's try to analyze this. Let's try to find out what is there on this particular IP. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is ping it and see if it responds back to me or not. And what do I get here? I get the results as positive. Okay, so this machine replies back to me when I pinged it. Now, what am I interested in? I am interested in finding out what is there on this IP. Is it running something? So what am I actually trying to accomplish here? I'm trying to find out the open ports on this machine. Okay. So to find out open ports, okay. To find out open ports, what will I do in this case? Okay. I will try to run a scan. Okay. So we have a very simple tool which is free to use. It's called Nmap. Okay. I'll take you to the Nmap website as well. Nmap is a network scanner. Nmap is a security scanner that helps you find out the services running on a particular IP, and not only just one IP. It helps you scan for security issues on a particular network that you enter. Okay, so it's a free tool, and this tool comes in two formats. One is obviously this one, which is command line or on the terminal. The other one is on the GUI. So it's a very simple to use tool, just like any other app on your computer, like Microsoft Word. Okay, so it's a very simple tool. You just have to click some buttons. That's it. Okay, that is what you mean by GUI. Okay, so ease of access is basically better than a CLI based tool. So I will share this with you as well in the link. But don't worry, this is just a demo. This is just me telling you what we will cover in our course. But when we start, we will start from the very scratch. Okay, from the very basics of cybersecurity. Okay, so what is this? This is a tool called Nmap, short for Network Mapper. Okay, what this tries to achieve is it helps to find out the services running on an IP. Okay, this helps us in finding out the services running on an IP, and that's the same thing that we are going to do here. Okay, so I'll write nmap 192.168.211.21. This is the IP that I got. So I'll hit enter and we'll get some results. Now I'll tell you how this actually works. Okay, so if you guys know how the OSI model works, now just comment yes, how many of you know how the OSI model works? Just comment yes if you guys know what is the OSI model. and how does it work? Nope, nobody? Okay. It's a model for computer networking. So basically, before this model was introduced in the world, what used to happen? The communication was happening in a haphazard manner. People didn't know what was happening. Okay. So people from Japan, when they were trying to communicate with people in India, they did not have a uniform standard of communication. And that is why it became very, very hard. Okay. That is why this model was introduced, and this model dealt with every aspect of computer networking. Your device address, which is known as MAC address, your network address, which is known as an IP address, your service address, which is known as a port address. Everything was discussed in this particular model. Okay. And it also described the two main protocols known as TCP and UDP. Okay. So whenever we deal with TCP and UDP, okay, we try to find out what kind of communication is happening. Okay. So, and that is how Nmap works. So when Nmap works, what it tries to do is this. Whenever from your device, you try to Nmap another machine. Let's say this is AM, which is attacker machine. This is VM, which is victim machine. Similarly, in this case, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to scan this IP for the services. Okay. So what will I do? I will make use of a protocol named as TCP. So whenever you have to communicate using TCP, it uses something that is known as three-way handshake. Okay. It's a concept of computer networking. What will I do? I will ask the victim machine, hey victim machine, what are you offering? What are you running? So the victim machine will send a message back to me and tell me that it is offering a service called SSH and HTTP. Similarly, in this case, what do we get? We get a few services. Okay, we get a few services running on a particular IP. Now, if we have to examine this further, what will I try to do? I know that if I enter this IP on my web browser, something will show up because it says that a service called HTTPS is open. So I'll go here. I'll write 192.168.211.21. And what do I get here? I get a website, right? I get a website. So this is how it is working. So it's a fancy looking website that I will try to work with. Let's see what I get here. Okay, that tells me to enter some commands. It's a simple website. Tells me that I should enter maybe one of these. So if I write something like this, let's see what shows up on my screen. Right. So what happened here is before we used this tool called Nmap to help us out. We had no idea at all. We had no idea at all whether this IP had a website, right? So, how did this help us out? This tool called Nmap is used in the first phase of hacking, which is known as reconnaissance or recon in short. So, hacking has 5 phases. The first phase is known as recon, where you try to find out what is there on an IP, what is happening, right? Then the second step is enumeration. After finding out what is there on an IP, you try to dig in further and you try to find out what is there, what exists, what doesn't. Okay, so it's a process or a phase similar to phase number one, but there is some difference that I will clear when we start our classes. After you have gained sufficient amount of information against your target, what do? You try to gain access into a particular service on a device. Then you try to extract information and try to see what can you steal or what can you do in order to cause more damage. And finally, you exit and cover your tracks. Because if you do each and everything perfectly from step number 1 to step number 4, but somehow you mess it up in step number 5, then eventually you will be caught. Okay. So whenever you hear on the news that this cyber criminal was caught, okay, that is mainly due to not understanding how to properly leave a system or leave a network. Because if you make the slightest amount of noise or if you leave a log behind, then the forensics team can do what? The forensics team can easily use this to catch you. Okay, so this is what happens in hacking. Now, other than this, you've got different types of tools as well on Cali. Let's say you are trying to hack into a website which is using WordPress. Then at that time, you can go to this section called Web Application Analysis, and you can use a tool called WP Scan, which is WordPress Scan. And if a website is using WordPress, then using this tool, you can easily hack into it. Okay. Hack is not the right word. You can analyze the security issues easily. Okay. And then let's say if you are trying to become a bug bounty hunter. So you must have heard of what bug bounty hunters do. They try to look for bugs on websites and they try to make money out of those bugs that they report. So most of the bug bounty hunters don't have to, spend a lot of money, buy expensive tools in order to perform bug bounty hunting. They can use a tool as simple as this one called Burp Suite. And what will it try to do? It will act as a proxy and it will help you find out various security issues. So I'll click this on. I will open this up. I will go to next. Okay, don't worry. I'll teach you how to work with this tool as well. Right now, I'm just giving you a simple demo regarding how this tool works. Okay. Now let's open Google here. Okay. Now after opening Google, the next thing I'll do is I'll set up my proxy. Okay. I will set up my proxy. And the way to do this is go here, go to the extreme end and configure a proxy. Okay. And now if I go to my proxy section, And wait a second. Yeah. Now, if I do this, okay, I do KSR. Okay, as soon as I write KSR, what will happen here? I'll show you. Okay, so let me just remove this tab as well. Okay, I will do intercept as off. I will go back here. I'll launch it, intercept is on, and now write something, KSR. Okay, so whatever I do on my browser can be intercepted here, and I can make changes here. Okay, I can make changes here. I can easily make changes here. So if I do KSR and write data heist, now you might think that this page is loading, but actually what is happening here that it has been registered here. So unless and until I approve the request from here, nothing will work. Okay, nothing is going to work here. So I wrote KSR data heist, right? You look at this portion. I used Google, I went to search bar, and whatever I did, you will be able to look at that here. Okay, so instead of searching for KSR data heist, if I change it and if I write money heist here, and then I forward it, you will see that it will reflect on our web page. Okay, so keep on sending it up and this will eventually happen. Okay, so this is how it works. This is a tool used for bug bounty hunting. Okay, now obviously these labs that we have been talking about, they are a little difficult in the beginning. That is why I will introduce you to a free platform that you can work with maybe today or tomorrow, whenever you want. Okay, and you can work with it without having to pay even a single penny. Okay, so you go here, you first remove the proxy. So you go to try HackMe. So this is a free website, guys, which you can use to understand cybersecurity based concepts. You go to a section called Learn, okay, and there are different learning paths. So basically, when we start our course, in the first 5 to 6 classes, I teach students through this platform because this is very easy to use. And then once you have understood all the different concepts, I will then take you to some other labs that I will create by myself. Okay, security architectures that I will create by myself, security configurations that I will create by myself. Okay, and if you have a laptop which has less than 8 GB of memory, you don't have to worry about that. I will set up browser-based access for you. Okay, through which you just have to access your lab through your browser. That's it. Okay, even if you have a 2 GB RAM laptop, it will still work. Okay, so right now you would have to first figure out which type of cybersecurity enthusiast are you. Initially, if you are a complete beginner, then you would have to go through these tasks, very basic tasks. Okay, and then you will be able to understand these concepts. Okay, So I will share this with you as well. Okay. And you can go through this platform today. It's a very simple and easy to use platform. All you need to do is create an account. They will ask you to use a premium subscription as well, but let me assure you, there is no need of doing that. You can access this platform as it is without paying even a single rupee. Okay. They have different types of sections inside Learn. Okay. You will go to Overview and you will start understanding these concepts. Okay. And if you still want to know about computer networks as well, then you can choose this pre-security path. Okay. All the paths have labs in them. You will be able to understand what is networking, what is a LAN, how can you extend your network, how does the web work, how do websites work, each and everything. Okay. So this, and obviously the KSR team will share with you the complete syllabus for the course. Okay. So I believe that's all from my side. And if you guys have any doubts or questions, please let me know so that I can answer them. Okay.
Uh, Excuse me, Adirath.
Yeah, yeah.
This is Rajshekar Reddy.
Hi, hi, Raj.
So as you said, it's only basic, programming language required, right? So is it
Yeah,
only
yeah.
C language or any other like a Python also included in this? Can we do cyber
So
hacking?
yeah, so I will teach you guys Python. Okay. So
Hmm.
let me assure you and let me tell you one thing here. So whenever you require the knowledge of programming languages, that is in a domain of cybersecurity, which is known as exploit development. Okay.
Okay.
So hacking can be done without the knowledge of programming languages as well. Okay. That's not a complete requirement. But if you want to make your career in this domain, which is exploit development, then you would have to understand these languages. Okay. Now
Hmm.
in our classes, I will be teaching Python and C.
Okay.
Okay, but from a cybersecurity perspective, not from a data science perspective or a web dev perspective. Okay. So this will be
Okay.
from a cybersecurity perspective where we will try to create our own network scanners.
Got it. So how far this networking concept would be helping us, like if you know some of the concepts like LAN, WAN, some OSI model, or no, some of the networking concepts. Will it be really helpful here, or we need to go further towards that?
See, I'll tell you about my journey. I actually started from networking. I did my master's in computer networking. I did my CCNA. I did my CCNP. I worked as a network engineer. Then I made a transition into cybersecurity. So if you know at least the initial stuff like the OSI model, the TCP
Mhm.
IP suite. Okay, what is a LAN, what is a WAN, what is a MAN, and how do they work? Okay, that's enough because the next stuff related to port addresses, MAC spoofing, IP spoofing. Okay,
Hmm.
socket changing or socket modification. I will tell you about that. You don't have to worry about it. If you already know the basics of computer networking, then that's a good thing. Actually, it's a plus.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
Uh, yeah, that's I'm good with that.
cool.
Like how far it's going to be, for example, many of us will be coming with different types of backgrounds, right? So some of them,
Right.
like some of us might be completed graduation very long years back. Suddenly we are
Right.
shifting our career to cybersecurity. So will it really help
Right.
us, do we need to start from the entry level, or anything further we can go there?
In cybersecurity, are you talking about the
Yes.
industry and the
Yeah.
jobs? Yeah, so if you have relevant experience, okay, even if you have an experience as a developer, or if you have experience as a network engineer or a cloud engineer, okay, then
Hmm.
you don't have to worry about making a transition into cybersecurity because you can land an intermediate level job. Okay. But if you come from a graduation, okay, straight from the graduation, then it initially is difficult to get a job in cybersecurity. So first you would have to go through cybersecurity internships. Okay. But for a
Okay.
person who has been a developer and they have to make a transition into cybersecurity, it's not that tough. Okay. But then you would have to carefully choose your domain. And basically, in this course, we deal with all the domains from a basic to an intermediate level, so that at the end of the course, you can choose your domain. Because I tell each and everyone, it's not always about hacking. If you are good in programming, okay, don't use tools, create your own exploits. If you are good in programming, go into the field of malware analysis, go into the field of reverse engineering, which are more paying than pen testing or ethical hacking. Got it?
Okay.
So for every domain, you reach a basic to intermediate level, and then towards the end of the course, you will be able to make a choice, like which career do you want to go into, which particular cybersecurity domain you want to go into, rather than just taking an entry level certification, which eventually lands you up as a basic cybersecurity analyst. Okay, where you will be dealing with documentations. Okay, so at the end of this course, you will be able to find out which particular domain will be the best for you.
Okay. Got it.
Okay? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's it. I'm good with you. Thank you.
yeah, cool. Thank you. Anyone else who has any question, please go ahead. I'll be happy to answer your doubts or your queries.
Sir, I have a small doubt, sir.
Yeah, sure, sure, Manoj. Please go ahead.
Sir, for freshers, I'm a fresher, so I'm a 2020 pass out, sir. So, being
Okay.
for cybersecurity, we want a coding skills required, sir, or not, sir?
No, no. Like I said, see, Manoj, there are how many domains in cybersecurity? Let me show you. Okay. So these are actually the main domains in cybersecurity, but they can be broken down into further domains as well. Okay. So for a domain like cryptography, no need of programming knowledge. For a domain like security architecture, designing and auditing, well, there is a complete environment in enterprises known as the SOC environment, okay, Security Operations Center. So
Hmm.
there, if you have the knowledge of SIEMs, if you have the knowledge of basic blue teaming tools, you are good to go, my friend. Okay, you don't actually have to worry about programming skills. But let me be very honest with you, breaking into cybersecurity won't be difficult for you, but transitioning further or growing further will become a problem for you if you don't go through a programming language course. Why? Because right now, as everyone knows how much AI is involved in every sector of the world,
Yes, sir.
and we are nearing towards automation. Even in cybersecurity, even bug bounty hunters are learning automation so that they can automate their manual tasks. Okay. Bug bounty hunting seems like a very cool domain. Okay. You would have to find bugs and you get paid around $2,000 for a bug. But it is very manual, it is very exhausting. Okay. So, what are
Hmm.
these hunters trying to do? They are trying to create their own frameworks. And how are they doing it? Through help of a programming language. So, in order to break into cybersecurity, in order to get an entry level job, no need to worry. But then when you get a job, make sure that you learn programming languages so that you can progress further in order to get a better salary. Okay.
Okay, sir. For being a fresher, it is a good, sir. Being a
I,
fresher, I
as,
want.
yeah, if you want to learn programming, why not? Okay. Because very soon you are going to find out jobs which are a mix of AI and cybersecurity. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So even in environments like SOC, where you are working with different tools, what happens is the problem of errors. Okay, so we find a lot of false positives and false negatives, which sometimes can detect uh, benign, benign data or benign events, and sometimes cannot detect real threats which are hidden. So at that time, if you learn AI, okay, then you can create a great security architecture which will eventually help you out. Okay. So the knowledge of programming will, always help you out. Okay, whether it's in networking. Now, even if you want to become a network engineer and you go through CCNA, CCNP, and you stop at that, okay, and you think that you have done enough, let me tell you that is not enough, because now what do we have? We have software defined networks. Okay, and to automate our networks, we would have to learn Python, we would have to learn Ansible, we would have to learn NetMiko, different protocols. Okay, so any programming language that you pick, that is going to eventually help you out in your career, whether it's in networking or in cloud or in cybersecurity.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay, sir.
Yeah.
So I have one more doubt, sir. For penetration testing, the coding skills required, sir, for penetration testing, like web application
For
testing.
No, for web application testing, you need manual skills. Okay, so if you talk about web app testing, so you can either use manual skills. Okay, and whenever you find bugs always, not all the bugs relate to the programming languages. Okay, but if you talk about web app pen testing,
Yes.
okay, then at some point of time, and even in our course, I will teach you the basic HTML and JavaScript, basic HTML and JavaScript, through which you can at least read the code. You can at least try to understand how a website is working. Because suppose if you're trying to learn web app pen testing and you want to learn an attack which is known as XSS, cross-site scripting. So for that, unless and until you don't know what is JavaScript, what is this function called alert, what is this function called prompt, then it might not, work properly, or you won't be able to understand the concept.
Hmm.
Okay. So the basic knowledge that is required for cybersecurity related to programming, don't worry, I will cover that for sure. I will definitely cover that. Now, you can do the same with tools as well. But like I said, tools have this problem of false negatives and false positives. Okay. So some of the things that you can do by yourself won't be able to can't be done through tools. Got it?
Okay, sir. So basic coding skills required, sir.
Very basic, very basic. Not
Like
for
Java and
this course,
Java and HTML.
JavaScript and
Yes, sir.
HTML. But if you don't know about that, I will teach that in the course. When
That's
I
very
start
good.
with when I start with web app pen testing, I will first take up a few classes on basic JS and HTML. Okay, CSS is involved as well, but CSS has not much to do with web app pen testing. That's only for styling. HTML is for structuring, but you can also cause basic attacks with HTML.
Okay.
Okay, so don't worry about it. When we deal with web app pen testing, I will start that.
As a fresher also, it is good to learn. As a fresher also, not only for experience. As a fresher also, it is good.
It is, my friend. So if you talk about this domain, web app pen testing, or bug bounty hunting, which are closely related to each other. Web app pen testing is a bigger domain. Bug bounty hunting is just a small part of web app pen testing, where you are trying to find bugs, okay, of any severity level. So if you start learning it right now, and if you give it around 5 to 6 months, then you don't have to worry about working for a company. You can, become your own boss by becoming a bug bounty hunter. You can work at whatever time you like, provided you have gained that sufficient knowledge required for it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yep. Anyone else who has any questions, I'll be, yep, please let me know.
Sir, Chetan here.
Hi, Chetan.
So actually my question is that suppose we have the any unknown PDF file or JPG file, suppose if there are some of the hidden threats, so do we have any
Yeah,
testing tool like this to identify the threats?
that comes under a domain called Technography, my friend. Okay, so if you are trying to
Okay.
find out any hidden data inside an image, okay, if you're trying to find out any hidden data inside an image, let me show you. Okay, I'll go here. I have a tool here called EXIF tool. I have variety of tools here. Okay, so I use EXIF tool, and suppose if I have an image here, so I might have some images. Let me check. Let me do another. Let me go to a folder called forensics where I keep different types of images. Yeah, I'll go to CD forensics. I have some images here. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll try to launch a tool which can help me understand the metadata of an image. Okay, so I can look at sensitive details, okay, rather than the image metadata with this tool, or I can use a tool called binwalk, okay, binary walk used for analysis of such images or PDFs. I can use this as well. Okay, so it's a step-by-step process. Got it, Chetan? So you would have to use different tools. You would have to start from the very basics to find out if there is anything extraordinary or out of ordinary in this image. Okay, then you would have to use a tool called stag hide. Okay, and you can use this, and it might ask you for a passphrase, and then you would have to work with this. Got it?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So whenever you look on the internet, if your main topic is technography, just Google this. I'll share this with you on the chat box. Write steganography. Okay, and with steganography, what you can do is you can hide data inside images, and you can recover data as well using a technique called steg analysis.
And one my last question is that in this time in Gmail we got the many spam mail. So is there any method to check the spam mail having a threats or like any hidden issue viruses like that?
Yeah, so there is a completely different domain for that called email header analysis or email security. Okay, first of all, if you would have to find out if your email can be spammed or not, then you would have to look for something which is known as SPF records, sender policy frameworks, DMARC records, and DKIM records. Okay, so basically these are the three records. If they are set to 1 or if they are set to yes, it means that your email can't be spoofed or spammed. Okay, but if you want to do a further analysis of an email coming in your spam folder, then you would have to go through email header security, and for that you have different tools. Okay, that is also possible, so that
Okay.
you can actually look at who sent it, because sometimes what happens is whenever you craft a malicious email, I'll show you here as well. I'll show you what tool. Okay, it's called MK's fake mailer. Okay, through this tool I can craft fake emails and I can send malware inside these emails. Okay, so for this I don't have to authenticate, I don't have to do anything at all. It will automatically come up. Okay. And most of the people who are not security conscious will fall for this spam. Okay. But when you understand how email security works, how email header analysis works, you will be able to find out that it did not originate from the real IP. It came from a different IP. Okay. Which was relayed further. Got it, Chetan?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Adira, I have a last doubt.
Sure, 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 Rajshekar.
Uh, See, the present, we know the situation. Many automation techniques were coming, and many things are there. How far the cybersecurity field will be secure for us, and what are the levels we can reach in future if we go into
Okay.
this?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Anything that is created in this world, okay, when we talk about tech, whether we talk about an algorithm in AI or we talk about a new framework in cloud or we create a new networking protocol, okay, so these are different domains. All of these domains have three factors. P stands for performance, R stands for reliability, and S, as you are guessing, S stands for
Security.
security, right? What is common among all these fields, Rajsekhar? What do you think? Who designed
Uh,
them? Who designed all these fields or all these solutions? Who is responsible for doing this? Who is responsible for automation? Who is performing automation?
of course, I would say,
Humans.
maybe yeah, humans, not machines. I know.
Humans. So as long as humans are there, human error will be there. Okay. Let's take a very simple example. I'm supposing you are a web developer. I'm supposing you are a web developer. Okay. What will you learn? You will learn JavaScript, you will learn CSS, you will learn HTML. Okay, for front end, and for back end, you will maybe master a framework, maybe the Laravel framework of Python, and you will think that you're good to go. Now you have a new assignment to create a website. Let me assure you, no person in this world would do this. Now, after this, if this person or you have an assignment, you would have a deadline to meet, and your end goal is to make that website functional, so that when you have that presentation day where your client is going to look at your website, what is your main goal? To make the website functional so that people can use it. And there is one factor, my friend, which is often overlooked, which is security. Okay. And whenever I was bringing in those three factors, P, R, and S, performance, reliability, and security, never ever in this world that all these three factors can be met in a complete manner or in 100% manner. If you go and you try to stick with performance a lot of times, then obviously security will be compromised. If you want to make something highly reliable, then there will be a lot of copies of that algorithm or that protocol, and so again security will be compromised. Okay, so even if you think that in the upcoming years websites will start getting developed through AI, who is working on AI? Humans. And there is, no matter how careful humans are, errors will be there. Okay, and that is why cyber security and AI, these are two different domains which are future proof. Okay, now as you would have seen that a few months ago Apple released their new product called Apple Tags. Within a month they were hacked. within a month Within a month, security researchers try to hack them. Okay, so if you ask me about how future proof is this job, how secure is this job, let me tell you, this is a future proof job, man. I mean, you don't have to worry about it at all. Okay, earlier what did we used to have? We used to have land warfare, air warfare, and water warfare. Air Force, Army, Navy. Now what do we
Yeah,
have? Cyber warfare.
cyber wash.
Okay, so no matter what do you do, this is one domain that will never die out.
Yeah,
Okay,
sounds good. So, what would be the duration of this course?
so this course will be somewhat around 70 to 80 hours of live classes I'm not counting the hours in which you will be given homework, because that is your own, that are your own tasks. So this course will be 70 to 80 hours. Most of the stuff has been shared with the KSR team. There are two new modules that I'm working on, and that is CAN pen testing. The CAN pen testing is related to electric vehicles or smart vehicles. Okay. So there is a simulator that I'm working on, and I'm trying to modify it so that I can teach you smart vehicle pen testing. So cars like Teslas, cars like the new Ford Mustang EV, all of them can be hacked. Okay. That's a new domain in cybersecurity these days.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
So I'm
everything is going
working
to be
on
automated
creating a
cars. You
simulator.
mean to say, sorry, I'm sorry. Please go on.
No, 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 no. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, you get it.
No,
You
no.
got it right. Yeah.
Yeah, when you said electrical, because nowadays we can see right everywhere it's they say driverless, and definitely those can be hacked. So you mean to say we are going to prevent them?
Yeah, right.
Fine.
Yeah. If you have any other doubts, yeah,
Uh,
let me know.
Nothing. We are good to go. Maybe, of
Okay.
course, whatever we, for listening, it would be more easier. But unless until we go into the practical, we feel the face the practical difficulties.
Okay.
That is a place to
See,
learn, of course,
that
even.
is evident. Right. That is evident. Whenever you start something new, like whenever you start something new in the beginning, you are going to suck at that particular thing. If you start learning boxing, in the first few days, you're going to get beat up. Your face is going to get bruised. Your face is going to get swollen. Same goes for cybersecurity. If you think that on the first day you will hack into a machine perfectly, no. Let me tell you about my journey. When I started, see, I did not take any course. I just used the internet to, go through courses and do everything else. So I sucked at it badly. Like the first 4 or 5 months, I thought that I would never be able to make into this domain. But then I did not give up, and finally, here I am. I have worked on my research articles. I filed a patent as well on ransomware detection. So yeah, I'm going. I'm not saying that I'm a pro, because nobody's a pro in cybersecurity. Every day is a learning day when it comes to cybersecurity. Every day a new vulnerability comes out. Every day a new attack comes out. A few days ago we saw that bitcoins were hacked. Okay, somebody's network was hacked and they stole around 600 millions of bitcoin. Now I want to learn blockchain security. Okay, so that's how it is in cybersecurity. But when it comes to job roles, you can get your job after, you know, performing each and every homework that I give you, and if you go through these classes every day. Okay.
Yeah, with the KSS permission, I'm asking. I don't know whether to we can ask this or not. But since how many years you are there into this cybersecurity field, and currently you're working for?
I have been into this field since 4 years, since 2016. Okay, I graduated in 2016. Then I did my first master's from the University of Kansas in United States. My main domain was, my major was networking and telecom with a minor in cybersecurity. Okay, and I was a researcher there. Okay, I was
Okay.
a researcher there. So I published a few research articles. I mean, those were part of my research work. And then I, did my second master's from the University of Auckland, New Zealand. It was in cybersecurity. So my major was cybersecurity. Okay. And I worked on a few projects related to Amazon. Okay. Where I try to analyze the forensic value of Amazon Echo. Okay. So there are articles as well on the internet related to that. Otherwise, if you go to this website called About DFIR, I have published my complete research here. Okay. After that, I worked as a university professor, assistant professor at my hometown, Jammu University, where I filed a patent. And now I'm going to go for my PhD in January.
That sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, KSR. Hope we'll be having a fruitful journey together soon.
Sir, I have
Thank
a
you.
small, I have a small question, sir.
Yeah, sure, sure, Manoj.
Sir, actually, for cybersecurity means it's mainly for experience more than 5 plus 5 years of experience. but it is a freshers. It is good or not, sir?
Cybersecurity, definitely, man. Like I said, uh, your journey is going to be a little difficult than others who have experience. Okay, that is why you would first have to go through internships. You would first have to go through internships in order to prove your experience. Okay, or if you
Okay.
have the relevant certifications like CEH, EJPT, ECPPT, or OSCP, that's how you can prove that you know your stuff. Whatever you have written on your resume is not fake, it's real. Then there are people who got jobs as senior cybersecurity analysts after their graduation, after their 4-year bachelor's degrees, because from the first year itself they were planning on preparing for certifications. They were planning on working as bug bounty hunters, where they found bugs on websites, where they made a lot of money. Okay, and company knew that yes, this is the guy who knows his stuff, who doesn't need any mentoring, he can do each and everything by himself. And why not we take this person as a senior cybersecurity analyst in our company? So you can look at LinkedIn profiles. You can look at different LinkedIn profiles. Okay, you should
Okay.
have to be you have to stand out a little different than other people. Okay, you would have to publish your research. You would have to write about various stuff. There is a website called Medium. Start publishing your blogs as soon as you learn something, or as soon as you know get to know about something in cybersecurity, like drone hacking, drone security. Write it down in your own words, present it so that people would know that okay, this person is genuinely interested in cybersecurity, and if we give him a chance, he will be able to do well. Got it?
Okay. Yes.
So
Understand.
so don't think about cybersecurity as something which is just a high paying field. Number one thing is passion. If you are passionate about cybersecurity, no matter if you have 20 years of experience, or if you are just a college going kid, or if you are studying at school, if you are passionate about it, if you are working on projects, if you are creating something meaningful, there is no company that is going to stop you from becoming a cybersecurity analyst. There are people who are 13 years old who are learning assembly language, and they are trying to understand, or they are trying to create their own malware analysis frameworks. Got it? So don't worry about it. Never associate never associate your passion with how much experience you have. Initially you might face some problems. Okay, you might. I'm not saying nobody faces any problems. You might face some problems. Obviously every ride is a bumpy ride, but eventually you will get through it. Okay,
Okay.
got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So thanks everyone. I just want to say thanks to all of you for sparing your time and having this session with me and the KSR team. Okay.